All right, hello and welcome back to the program. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. This is the Carl Jackson Show. Please subscribe to my podcast wherever you go to get your podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. I'm on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. And what I'm going to continue to do is we've gone through Trump's picks. I want to go through more of his proposals and more of likely what will be some of the executive orders that he implements and some that he'll reverse. Now, obviously, Trump intends to get some legislation done. There is a fight currently going on as we're recording right now for the Senate Majority Leader. But it's a secret ballot. I'm sure we will find out. Well, by the time this program airs, we will likely know who the next Senate Majority Leader is going to be. But the left is absolutely terrified of this second Trump administration because this isn't a man that's going to sit down and bow down to the left and try to be a lame duck president. This is a man that wants to get stuff done. Here's Anna Navarro. This is video clip number 7. This is Anna Navarro on The View. She's sharing her concerns about the borders are. Now, we played Tom Homan earlier, the comparison of Tom Homan as borders are, what he's saying, what he was saying about the border compared to Kamala Harris. Here's what The View, Anna Navarro, The View had to say. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Look, Donald Trump won the electoral vote. He won. He's going to win the House. He won the Senate. For all effects and purposes, he's got the Supreme Court. They've given him immunity. This is what the country voted for. This is, a lot of people thought that when he talked about mass deportations, he wasn't being serious. I don't know how many times he had to say it for people to realize he was being serious. Well, if you thought he wasn't being serious, the appointment of Tom Homan today as border czar, and he will be in charge of a mass deportation program, the largest the country has ever seen, they say. And now Stephen Miller, as deputy chief of staff, should let you know that he was absolutely serious. And when you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, those of you who voted for Trump, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around and you're about to find out.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we voted for. We voted it. And isn't it amazing? I guess she's admitting that there is a border crisis, or there was a border crisis, or actually is under the Biden-Harris administration. Yeah, we do want to find out what it's like to not have to compete for jobs and resources with illegal immigrants. We do want to find out, Anna Navarro, what it's like for our children not to die of fentanyl overdoses. We do want to find out what it's like to not have overcrowded schools with people who, quite frankly, cheated and cut in the line. Yeah, we do want to find out what that's like. We're looking forward to that. And quite frankly, everyone that came into this country illegally should go back and they can reapply and they can do it the right way. They can do it the legal way. That's America. There is no other country in the world that is as foolish as us, with the exception of some European nations that are thoroughly regretting it now, that has open borders where we say, come. Anybody can come. And Tom Homan has already said they're starting with the criminal element, 1.5 million people. And I'd like for you to make that argument, Anna Navarro, to Laken Riley's parents, Rachel Moran, Jocelyn Nangare, and the others that were murdered at the hands of some of these illegals. Absolutely astonishing to me. But this is what the left is terrified of. They know that Trump means business, and that makes me extremely happy. And now Trump talked about the accreditation process and how they're going to reform that, get rid of all this wokeness and this DEI when it comes to our education, the Department of Education, eliminating that because we've grown dumber with the implementation or with the creation of the Department of Education. And you know why? It's simply because you have some of the dumbest people that get elected and go to Washington, D.C., not all, but many, and then they end up winning the government, and then they want to force their views on the rest of society. Democrats can't win, right? Democrats can't win election based upon ideas. We just watched that with Vice President Kamala Harris. So what do they want to do? They want to brainwash your children. Let's roll through a couple of more of these Trump videos, and then I want to get to some of the issues that are going to be at hand, some of the executive orders that I expect to see right from the beginning. Let's go to video clip. Let's just go to the very next one, Gabe.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse. We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation, and yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst. So you can't do worse. We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up, all those buildings all over the place, and you have people that in many cases hate our children. We're going to send it all back to the states. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the next one.
Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children.
Hold the video there. I love this. We'll go right back to this video in a sec. But I love what President Trump is doing here. This is a fight that needs to happen. This is, in my opinion, this is child abuse. What's happening to these kids? These kids are going into these surgeries, being pressured into these surgeries by doctors and naive parents, parents that, in my opinion, probably shouldn't be parents. They're guilty of child abuse themselves. And these people are suffering irreversible damage where children will not be, girls won't be able to have babies, won't be able to be mothers as they grow up, won't be able to enjoy sex. The same is true with these boys that are getting transitioned as well. And this is wrong. This is evil. This is immoral. And there needs to be adults that'll step in and say, no, you're not doing this to my kid. So if the parents won't do it, sadly, and I want a smaller government. But if you're an abusive parent and you allow your kid to be chopped up based upon how they feel, when kids want to be, so many things that I wanted to be when I was a kid, it wasn't even funny. I wanted to be Flash. I wanted to be Superman. I wanted to be, Eric Dickerson of the Los Angeles Rams at a point. None of that stuff was going to happen. That's insane. These are children. These are children. Let's go ahead and wrap up that video, Gabe.
The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
All right, so this is exactly what the left fears. If you change the education system in America, just where kids are reading, writing, and doing arithmetic side by side, there shouldn't be equity. You should strive. Every school should strive to make sure their children can read, write, and do arithmetic at the proper grade level. We shouldn't be, as adults, I really think it is so perverted and sick that you have adults that are so that are sexualizing our children, confusing our children, saying that boys can be girls and girls can be boys, and you're a little child. And remember back in the day, I'm a Generation X kid. So you remember back in the day, you would go to, kindergarten, first grade. What do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a police officer. I want to play in the NFL. I want to play Major League Baseball. Whatever it was, whatever your dream was. Now you have teachers that are telling little boys, "Hey, you can be a girl, or you can be, you can be a girl. You can be a boy. That's not what you're there for. Shut your pie hole. That isn't what you're there for. You're there to teach those children. I mean, we have just slipped so far down the godless, totem pole. I mean, it's insane to me. Where you have to imagine that even these sick, twisted teachers and administrators, they were kids. They understood how powerful words were coming from adults and how influential those words could be. These kids, I heard someone say kids have the right to go through puberty. I never thought I would have to sit here on a show and agree with that, and say, what a great statement. I never thought I would be like, yeah, cheering for Trump when he says, you know what, there's going to be an executive order. We're going to craft some legislation. But when it comes to the federal government, when it comes to even us doling out federal money, you're going to call boys boys and you're going to call girls girls, and you're going to recognize that there are unique differences between those two. Common sense. Thank you, President-elect Trump. Thank you. I never thought this would be a major voting issue. None of us did, but it is. Jon Stewart came out. There's a video I won't play for the. I guess we could roll it. I want to. Actually, I won't. I won't for the sake of time. But he basically talked about Jon Stewart, the comedian, Comedy Central, talked about how a lot of Democrats. He played video clips of all these, these left-wing media elites. Talking about the day after the election, how we have to get rid of the woke stuff, how the identity politics, gender stuff, all that kind of stuff. He played all of them, the usual suspects, if you will, mainstream media, the Joe Scarboroughs of the world, and all that kind of good stuff, the Mika Brzezinskis, and then he played he played Sherrod Brown Senator in Ohio. He played Tammy Baldwin. Senator Tammy Baldwin. He played what's the gentleman that just got defeated in Montana? His name escapes me, but he played all them, and he was like, they're all talking about, the media people are all talking about how the Democrats need to get rid of wokeness. And then when he played ads of all of these senators, they were all talking about the border and, crime and low taxes and so on and so. Yeah, they were talking about that stuff, Jon Stewart, and because they were losing their races. So they had to stop talking like Democrats and started sounding like they were Donald Trump acolytes. And Jon Stewart knows this. He's a very smart man. He knows this. Absolute nonsense. All right, let's go down the line. This is just a few more reasons why the left absolutely hate Trump. They're terrified of Trump, and they still want to do everything possible to minimize the impact that he'll have. But they just lost the House and they lost the Senate. So we'll have to see what they're up to. Gabe, I forget which video we were on, so you're going to have to help me out here if you don't mind. I think we played... Okay, let's play clip number 5.
The World Health Organization has become nothing more than a corrupt globalist scam paid for by the United States but owned and controlled by China. When the China virus reached our shores 3 years ago, the World Health Organization disgracefully covered the tracks of the Chinese Communist Party every single step of the way. For this reason, it was my great honor to terminate America's relationship with the World Health Organization. The United States was paying the World Health Organization almost $500 million a year. When I dropped out, I took it out of there. And for 330 million people, even though China was paying only $40 million for 1.4 billion people. So we had 330, they have 1.4, and we're paying more than 10 times the amount. That's typical for the United States because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Unfortunately, crooked Joe Biden foolishly re-entered the World Health Organization at the full price and without any negotiations or reforms. And now Biden is pushing to bypass the United States Senate to enter a pandemic treaty that would surrender American sovereignty to the World Health Organization, again controlled by China. The draft treaty would require the United States to send vast quantities of medical supplies to other countries in the event of another pandemic, and it would push aggressive censorship of free speech on issues of public health, just like they censored the truth about the Wuhan lab, which I said that's where it came from, remember. Under the next Trump administration, that treaty will be immediately terminated. I would not allow public health to be used as a pretext to advance the march of global government. That's what they're doing, globalists. The United States will withdraw from the corrupt World Health Organization, which, in light of its utter failure on COVID, they had a tremendous disaster on COVID, deserves to be completely abolished and replaced. Then I will work to forge a new coalition of nations that are strongly committed to protecting health while also upholding sovereignty and freedom. I want to thank you very much, but I also want to say this. I could have renegotiated the deal. I could have gone into the World Health Organization for $25 million. Biden didn't take that deal. He's paying almost $500 million. They were so anxious to get the United States back after I terminated the agreement. They were so anxious to get it back that they offered me a deal, $25 to $30 million. And I said, no, I'll wait. Could have gotten it for less, but I didn't want less at that point. We were paying almost $500 million. Could have done it for $25 to $30. Biden took the $500 million deal. He knew he could have gotten back in for less. So why did he pay so much? But that's just one of many things that are wrong with our country. Thank you very much.
Oh, Ian's, these things are hilarious. Thank you very much. But he's right. The World Health Organization, a bunch of commies paying into the World Health Organization and honestly controlling it. China had a lot of control over the World Health Organization during COVID. And so, listen, these are organizations where we shouldn't be paying top dollar for them. And quite frankly, if we need to leave them, I know some people are not in favor of that, but if they don't have our best interests at heart, the World Health Organization isn't going to dictate our medical policies inside of the United States of America. And now we've got a new sheriff in town. Can you imagine what the world is feeling now that they see Trump back and no one knew what it was? No one expected that it would happen after all of the lawfare and everything else that was thrown at them. They were expecting to get this guy back. I want to play video clip number 8. You guys saw this earlier in the week, but make sure you tune in to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Guys, please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, you're watching us on YouTube, please rate and review the podcast, subscribe to it, like, share. We would appreciate that. The same is true for Rumble. We would appreciate your viewership. We would appreciate you subscribing and sharing the podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. Find me on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. But I want to play, this is Biden back on vacation at his beach home. What is it? Rehoboth Beach, I believe it's called, in Delaware. Video clip number 8. The guy could barely walk on sand. I'm sure you saw the video, but if you haven't, make sure you subscribe on our YouTube or Rumble channel and check out this video. And Jill Biden kind of has to hold him up initially, and then she just kind of leaves him alone. The guy looks like he's about ready to faceplant, but obviously she still can't give up the ghost, despite the fact that she's only got a couple more months in the White House. Video clip number 8, por favor, Gabe.
He's trying too hard. He's playing.
Mr. President!
Mr. President, just a word.
Mr. President, what are you going to say to Trump on Wednesday?
Whoa.
Mr. President, what are you going to talk with Trump on Wednesday?
I don't, guys. The left is going after. The left is looking for someone to blame, and you'll hear so many pundits on the left say, "You know what? Biden should have quit this race earlier. He should have. He should have walked away. That would have given Kamala Harris more time to run a better campaign. That she couldn't have run a better campaign. That was the best you're going to get with Kamala Harris. She was a disaster. Everyone knew she was a disaster. Every Democrat, 6 months ago, I was reading stories from the Democrat Party, Democrat elites, how she needed to be kicked off of the ticket because she was a liability to Biden, a dementia patient. That's how bad she was. She couldn't even last until Iowa back in 2020. She didn't receive one vote then. She didn't receive one vote this year. And now she received a lot of votes because there was a media campaign, but she got blown away by President Trump. So much so that President Trump has a mandate right now. But Kamala Harris was the vice president of the United States. If she wanted to run earlier, she could have invoked the 25th Amendment. She elected not to do so. Guys, listen, there's no doubt in my mind there's going to be some level of resistance. But that's to be expected from the left. This is the world that we live in right now. This is the political world that we live in. We can't give up. We got to make sure that our congressmen, our senators, our congressmen are doing what we want in order to make sure that we are more free. So we got to just make sure that we do that. I want to play this last video clip for you, and then I'm just going to quickly talk about some of the. This is video clip number 12, and then I'm going to quickly talk about some of the executive orders that you can expect to be reversed and some that will be implemented on day one. Now, again, guys, we can't live on executive orders, so you're going to have to make sure that you stay involved. Call your congressman, call your senators, and make sure we get some solid legislation, some lasting legislation that will endure over beyond Trump's presidency. But here's video clip number 12. I don't know how long this one is. I'm not sure that I want to play the entire thing. But this is a young lady that is blaming Elon Musk for Kamala's defeat. I want to play this for you. She's an election denier, a Democrat, but it's okay. Let's play it. Video clip number 12.
Hi, you guys. Look, I really debated whether or not I was going to sit here and talk about this. I thought about it long and hard yesterday. I know that this is probably going to cause controversy or this is going to cause whatever. And to be quite honest with you, I'd much rather lose and people know than not do anything and sit on it, okay? This was brought to my attention yesterday from a friend of mine. His name is Mr. Wheezy, Mr. Wheezy 100, and he's an engineer. I'm not going to get into information about him, okay? And he brought this to my attention because, you know, he also understands that, you know, I have my CCIE. You know, I've been a programmer and a networker for the past almost 11 years, you know, for networking and computers and all those, you know, all those other things. With that being said, it was brought to my attention, and I'm gonna, at the end of this video, make sure you watch the whole entire thing. Please post it, boost it, because I'd rather lose and, you know, lose whatever I need to in order to get the information out than to not say anything and sit on it, because I absolutely fucking refuse to be like this. This is a give back to my dad and, you know, everything that he went through. Anyways, with that being said, he sent me a video letting me know that California and other swing states were able to use Starlink in order to tally up and to count ballot votes or voting ballots in their state, okay? There's a multitude of issues with that, and I'm going to explain to you why. And I'll explain to you in layman's terms, because you have to understand, when it comes to computer programming jargon, you guys are not going to understand what the flying F I'm fucking talking about, okay? So anything that you guys don't understand or you want more clarification from, please message me. I have no problems explaining it to you. With that being said, okay, you also have to understand that when it comes to Starlink, okay, Starlink is a, you know, it's an IPv4, it's an IPv6. Basically what that means is that it's a specific satellite link-up system that sends signals to whatever it's hooked up to. Doesn't matter what it is, like a normal internet connection, right? With that being said,
Okay, you get the gist of it. You get the gist of it. Basically, Starlink hooks up to internet, hooks up to Wi-Fi. It's responsible for Trump winning this red wave that came to fruition in 2024. That's basically it. First off, she said California was a swing state. Okay. All right. So I think that alone almost disqualifies her. But you know what? But it's okay. You know what I observe in this video? The left would say something different. I observe free speech. I disagree with her totally. She's an election denier. She doesn't want to believe that the Democrat Party got their butts kicked because they didn't talk about borders, the economy, crime, inflation. And then the videos that Jon Stewart showed were Democrat senators that were losing their races or fearful of losing their races. And at the end of their races, they started sounding like Trump supporters rather than the radical Democrats and the radical voting records that they have. Jon Stewart conveniently forgot to mention that. Unbelievable. But you know what? She's free. Free speech. Free speech. I don't care if you think that Trump won by cheating. He didn't. But you're an American. You have a First Amendment right to spread conspiracy theories, and I don't think you should be jailed for it. So there's a lesson for you, you Democrats. Okay, now just real quick, some of the executive orders that I think you can expect probably on day one or within the first week of Trump's administration. First off, any executive order that Biden has implemented will likely be reversed. There are 24 executive orders that Biden enacted in his first week in office, and I don't have time to go through them. But anyway, I suspect those will be reversed. You'll see Trump secure the southern border and launch a mass deportation operation. We talked about that in the earlier podcast. Now that he has the border czar, Tom Homan, who does not have to go through Senate confirmation, that'll allow him to get to work right away. All right. So I'm more confident. Before I was like, I'm not sure that they're going to have the stomach to do a mass deportation efforts. But with Tom Homan at the helm, it looks like it's going to happen. And Trump has a mandate. This is what people ask for because people are sick and tired. Even people in Chicago and New York City, they're tired of seeing illegal aliens get benefits from the government, state and federal government, that they themselves don't get when they're struggling. And people are breaking into the country, getting benefits that Americans can't get. So this will be perhaps the largest, although I did hear commentary earlier from Glenn Beck, I must admit, that stated that Bill Clinton deported 11 million illegal aliens during his entire 8-year tenure as president. I did not know that. So anyway, I'll have to look into that. But I do trust Glenn Beck when he says that. So anyway, Trump is also unlikely to undo Biden's executive action on with student. He's unlikely to actually, when it comes to the student loan executive action that Biden signed, Trump is likely not going to do anything regarding that because I think the courts are going to totally dismiss that. And I don't think Trump is going to waste any time. I think he's going to hit the ground running. Next, he's likely to do something, obviously, regarding Title IX. We saw that in the policy proposal. So expect some type of executive order on that right away until he can get some legislation passed to prevent males or certified penis owners from playing sports with girls. All right. So look for that. He's going to be fighting against wokeness, eliminating that. I saw a story earlier this week in Real Clear Politics. Let me see if I can pull it up real quickly. HHS spends hundreds of millions pushing DEI in medical community. Guys, I know that to be true. I mean, I've read stories and story after story about the implementation of DEI, not just in academia, but whether it comes to any type of money that these hospital agencies, these big hospital management agencies, and all these places are getting. It's absolutely insane. But they have to bow down to the woke mob in order to get some of the federal funding that they would get for Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare, all that kind of stuff. So now HHS spends hundreds of millions pushing DEI in the medical community. So I suspect that Trump is going to eliminate all of this stuff right away by executive order and then get some legislation passed. So we're going to have to make sure that we keep the fire underneath the feet of our congressmen and senators. Also, again, he's going to be fighting against wokeness. He will re-implement Schedule F. This will allow him to fire some of the federal employees who currently enjoy job protections. And this is part of the problem with the federal government. They're able to waste a lot of money. They're able to be inefficient because you have to keep sorry, lazy people. And so Trump is going to re-implement Schedule F. That's going to allow him to fire some people. That could take up to a year because Biden put into law some protections for some of these people so that they couldn't be fired, rephrasing or reworking or renaming their job positions to make it a little more difficult for Trump. And then he's going to reverse any executive order that dealt with the COVID-19 authoritarianism, that deals with education, that deals with crime, anything that Biden did to make America less safe and less prosperous. I suspect you're going to see Trump undo a lot of these executive orders on day one, and I cannot wait. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you. So the story of My Pillow is a testament to faith and transformation. Mike Lindell, once battling addiction, found a new path when he embraced faith and began following Jesus Christ. In gratitude, Mike is excited to share an exclusive offer with our listeners. Right now, the standard My Pillow is available for just $14.88, a savings that's too good to pass up. Now, there is a limit. It's only 10 per customer. So don't wait to take advantage of this amazing deal right now using the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. Mike believes that God gave him the idea for My Pillow in a dream, and it's designed with your comfort in mind. The pillow holds its shape and adapts perfectly to your unique sleep position, helping keep your neck aligned for the best night's sleep. And there's more. You can take home a 4-piece kitchen set for only $25. Enjoy their new mattress topper starting at just $99.99, and pick up the luxurious MyPillow bed sheets starting at $49.98. Visit mypillow.com or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, to unlock huge discounts. Don't miss out. Order today.